Burrow Bar has always been a labour of love. We opened with a very clear idea of how we want people to experience a bar service. You know, it's really friendly neighbourhood vibes in like an elevated environment with really, really good alcohol and staff that can't wait to come into work, and with, you know, a library of so many toys to play with to kind of make sure someone's experience is the best experience they can possibly have. So for us, it made sense to continue that because we're really proud of what we've built over 5 years. And when we first opened Burrow Bar, it was very much, we wanted to create a place that was an institution. It's people that would go away for after 10 years having the best night of their life and can recall a distinct memory of having the best cocktails at this one small place in Sydney called Burrow Bar. Like that was, you know, that's the dream of opening any venue. So for us, it was really important to kind of continue on that, but make sure that it evolved and didn't stay the same. It needed to change with where people were moving in terms of how they like drinking and how they like to experience a night out.
We've been in the Sydney CBD for 5 and a bit years. Yeah. We love it. We've grown with it. We've leaned into every single trial and tribulation, and it made sense for us to want to do that. This space in particular, it just immediately felt like home when we walked in. I cannot describe the goosebumps that Bryce and I had when we walked down the stairs and into the space. It just felt like coming home. It was the first time I think I've felt like that since we actually walked into what Burrow was before we turned it into that space. So for us, just that initial like spidey senses tingling was definitely there. The layout was great, very similar to Burrow, but also very different. It had none of the kinks that we had to kind of deal with. And all the other parts that we kind of always wanted to have in a space. The room itself for Burrow was a rectangle. So there's only so many things that you kind of can construct to make sure a rectangular space can kind of work as a bar, where we place the bar, where you place the seating, where we put the office and storage. It was kind of very much controlled with how we could do that. With this space in particular, it's a little bit more square in nature. It still has the sandstone. It has a wonderful staircase that we can kind of play with, creating smaller and more open kind of spaces. So we'll have a private dining kind of area that we can kind of cordon off. We can close off certain sections. We can definitely configure different layouts depending on what the bookings are coming through. Or maybe what we open with doesn't work. We can definitely maneuver some of the furniture to make sure that space works. So we can evolve with the space in that regard. If you'd asked me a year ago, does the new Burrow space have a restaurant component to it? Probably not. I'd say we probably were looking for a place that had a decent kitchen so we could kind of elevate the food offering that we'd have for the bar. But this particular concept and this challenge was definitely one that we had in the recesses of our mind. Like, I'd love to open a restaurant. Like, you know, if you love hospitality and you go into hospitality, I think you appreciate every kind of venue that is out there, or that you can possibly make a really wonderful dining experience, or, you know, consuming something in that environment experience. So the restaurant cafe definitely was an added layer of, we can make this work if we do it a certain way. A beverage program for a restaurant is wildly different to the beverage program for a bar. And the ambience and the type of ingredients that you'd be using and the format of glasses. Like, it definitely tapped into the creative recesses of our minds that we haven't really been able to play with. Like, for the first time in 6 years, where we can see sunlight during service. So it definitely wasn't part of the original plan, but definitely was not prohibitive when we looked at the space. The most rewarding experiences come from fear and having your back against the wall, if that's anything I've learned in the last 5.5 years. You know, I love hospitality. I love the process of having someone anticipate coming to your venue. You know, I respond to every single inquiry that comes through emails and online. I respond to each and every one of them. And that touch point and the tone that I approach every single person that inquires is that starting process of you coming into the venue. And then once you're in the venue, my entire team, we're fun, they're smart, bit of a nerd, love just creating a wonderful experience in venue. So once you're in venue, I know that you're going to have a great time. That I know how to do. Transforming it and bringing it into a restaurant is another challenge, but one that I think you can really lean into, because now it's food, and like you can really go, if you feel snacky, kind of go light on like the bigger ticket items and lean more into like some of the drinks and the wine. I think it's a different experience, and for the venue and how we're going to make it both look and feel when you're in the venue, it's going to be really different. And I think the way that we can see people eating and drinking over the last 12 months, especially in Burrow, people are leaning more into kind of making sure there's a bit of food. When they go out, it's an event. They want to have food and they want to have a few drinks, and then they want to go and see another place, or maybe they just want to stay because they're really comfortable and having a great time. We're finding people are staying for a bit longer. So Burrow will definitely still lean into the dark spirit category. So anything that's been touched, kissed by a barrel is definitely the aim of like our offering in terms of spirits. Everything uniquely hard to find is definitely what we want to kind of carry down here. Upstairs will be different. It'll be kind of like, white, off-white, a bit brighter. Pops of green will definitely kind of accent areas of the ground level, so to speak. And the spirits and bar program will very much lean into the white spirit category, so unaged spirits, spritzy, lighter, still amazing cocktails, but definitely lean into that brighter category. Aperitifs, sherries, things that go really well with food. And not only just that, for us, like, I think a venue should be what you see, what you feel, but also what you smell. So we're going to play around with a lot of scents. So downstairs, leather, cedar wood, very much whiskey, kind of like essential oils going on. Upstairs will be, citrusy, really bright, coconutty, lemongrassy, that kind of night and day experience. So it's very much bright, daytime. Downstairs is dark and sultry. Whether it is something you ate, something you drank, a terrible joke that was made by one of the staff, I think for me, if they can walk away and say that they had the most amazing hospitality and the food or drink was incredible, that honestly will be, we've hit the brief, right? We've created a space that people want to return to. Definitely 2021 is an adventure, and we're just going to have to just lean into whatever rolls through. So I'm very excited about that, I think I have a good feeling about this year.